Someone left me a comment on my last video. She said, stop spending all your time going through your stuff and go live your life before it's over. And you know what? She's actually right. My home is organized. I decluttered in 2020, got rid of so much stuff, downsized from my house to this granny flat. After 30 years as a graphic designer and art director, I was used to organizing and editing things. So that part came naturally. I thought, okay, done. I decluttered, checked that box. But my life, that's what's still cluttered. Because once the physical clutter was gone, I could see all the other kinds of clutter I'd been carrying. The kind that doesn't fit in a donation bag. My to-do list was still packed with obligations that drained me. My mind kept running the same anxious loop. My energy went to people and commitments that didn't serve me anymore. Decluttering didn't fix everything. It just showed me what really needed my attention. And that's why I'm still making decluttering videos. Because it's not just about the stuff in your closet, it's about everything you're carrying that keeps you from living a lighter, more joyful life. So when someone said, stop spending all your time going through your stuff and go live your life, I realized she was right, but not in the way she meant. So let me show you what I mean. Time clutter. For many, many years, I multitasked constantly, trying to fit it all in, created what I call time clutter. It wasn't until my 50s that I realized this mindset wasn't benefiting me. Now that I'm in my 60s, I'm really working to change things. Our time is so precious. When we reach midlife, it becomes even more important to prioritize it. If we only have half our lives left, what do we spend it on? There we go. She's doing it. She's walking. Yeah, she's walking. Yeah. There you are. You're walking very, very well. Yeah. You saw it, right? Yeah. You did it, Malia. I'm 61 now, and my to-do list is still full. But I'm challenging myself to change that. And it's not easy. After decades of time clutter, how do you shift into slowing down, enjoying more, letting go of doing it all? I wasn't fully present, just moving from one thing to the next. So now I'm decluttering my time the same way I decluttered my closet. What actually fits my life right now? What brings joy or purpose? What am I keeping out of guilt or habit? In my culture, I'm Japanese and Okinawan American. There's this concept called ikigai, your reason for being. In other words, your purpose. And research on Okinawans shows that having ikigai is one of the secrets to their longevity. Finding your purpose doesn't have to be huge. It could be spending time with your pet, tending to your garden, or even enjoying a great cup of coffee every morning. Your ikigai can be anything that gives your life meaning. But I realized I'd been filling my calendar so much that I had no time to even think about what my ikigai might be. Holocaust survivor and neurologist Viktor Frankl said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." The quote means that if you have a strong enough reason to keep going, you can endure almost any degree of hardship or suffering. Frankl's key insight was that those who lost their sense of purpose were often the first to give up, even if their physical condition was no worse than others. Those who maintained a future-oriented goal survived longer because their internal meaning transcended their external reality. And honestly, I'm still figuring mine out. I catch myself working too hard on my thrifting business, obsessing over my YouTube data, filling my time with busyness instead of meaning. That's why decluttering time isn't just about having an empty calendar. It's about creating space to discover what actually matters. I can expand on this in a whole other video about finding purpose after 50 because it's messy and ongoing. And I think we need to talk about it more at length. But for now, just know, it's hard to find your purpose if your time is cluttered with everything else. Mental clutter. For me, a big one was my thrifting business. On the surface, it looked like a time problem. I was waking up at 5 a.m. to check my online stores, planning thrifting trips, cleaning and prepping items to photograph. My days were packed. But when I started cutting back, I realized the bigger issue wasn't the tasks. It was the mental loop running constantly in the background. Am I making enough money with this business? Do I have enough to retire soon? Should I be doing more? Those calculations were running 24/7. Even when I wasn't working, I was still worrying about all that I needed to get done. Here's what changed. I actually sat down and looked at my finances, really looked at them, and I realized I could slow down the business. The anxiety wasn't based on my actual numbers. It was based on fear and assumption. Once I saw that in black and white, I could finally let go of that mental loop. And the relief wasn't just about having more time. It was about finally having mental quiet. My brain could rest. So, let me ask you this. Are you worrying about something you haven't actually examined? Could it be worrying about things you can't control? Replaying conversations from the past? Carrying guilt about choices you made years ago? That's clutter too. It takes up space. It weighs you down. And unlike physical clutter, you carry it everywhere. Energy clutter. Okay, the third type is energy clutter. And for me, this one was really sneaky. Again, it came back to my thrifting business, but in a different way. It wasn't just taking my time or creating mental loops. It was literally draining my physical energy with all of those tasks. Waking up at 5 a.m. to check my online stores. Driving to thrift shops and going through thousands of items. Cleaning, prepping, photographing, and listing them. And then packing and shipping. Not to mention, what do I do with all the bad items that don't sell? But here's the twist. I was so busy with all that busy work that I was avoiding the one thing that actually gives me energy: exercise. As I've gotten older, I have more aches and pains, and the only thing that seems to alleviate them: stretching and strength building. But I kept putting it off because I was too busy with the business. When I finally made exercise a priority, taking a class at the gym or going for a really good walk at least once a day, I realized I'd been spending energy on things that depleted me while avoiding the thing that really helped me. That's energy clutter. Giving your energy to what wears you out instead of what builds you up. Obligation clutter. And finally, there's obligation clutter, the shoulds. 5 years ago, I was laid off from a stressful job where I made over 6 figures. When I started my thrifting business and this channel, I felt like I had to prove something, to be successful, to show I could do it all. Back then, I was a single mom who was taking care of my teenage daughter. And now there's my granddaughter.
Hi, Malia.
I want to be there for part-time babysitting to help my oldest daughter out. So I did what so many of us do. I hustled. Hustle culture told me that doing more and being great at everything was the answer. But here's what I realized. I was so busy trying to fulfill my obligations that I was becoming unavailable to the people I was doing it all for. I wasn't really present with my daughters. I wasn't showing up with energy for my granddaughter. I wasn't even taking care of my own health. The real obligation wasn't to hustle harder. It was to be healthy, energized, and actually there for my family, my friends, and for you. So I cut back on my thrifting business. I made different choices about my YouTube channel, and I prioritized my health and energy. Because obligation clutter isn't just about saying no. It's about questioning what you think you have to do in the first place. How to identify your non-physical clutter. So, how do you know what needs decluttering in your life? Here are the tools that helped me figure it out. The time truth. Look at your calendar from last month. Highlight anything you dreaded that left you exhausted or that you did out of obligation, not desire. That's your time clutter. You don't have to eliminate every obligation. Some you just can't. But you'd be surprised how much is actually optional. The energy audit. For 1 week, notice what drains you versus what energizes you. Not what you think should energize you, but what actually does. For me, multiple thrifting trips and endless tasks, draining. Taking a class at the gym or going for a really good walk, energizing. Scrolling social media, comparing myself to others, draining. Practicing Japanese drumming with my friends, energizing. Start there. What's taking energy without giving anything back? That's your energy clutter. The mental inventory. What thoughts are on repeat in your head? Write them down. For me, it was that loop. Do I have enough new inventory? Am I going to meet my sales goals this week? These thoughts were taking up mental real estate, just like that sweater you haven't worn in 5 years. What's your mental loop? Worries about the future? Regrets from the past? Comparisons? Self-criticism? Write them down. You can't declutter what you don't acknowledge. The relationship reality check. Who in your life drains your energy or makes you feel small? Who do you spend time with out of guilt? That's a tough one, but sometimes it's the most necessary. I had to set boundaries around my time and energy, not because I don't love my family, but because showing up exhausted and resentful wasn't serving anyone. The should detector. Make a list of everything you think you should do, be, want, or have. Then ask, says who? Where did this should come from? For me, it was, I should be successful at my thrifting business. I should hustle harder. I should prove I can do it all after losing that six-figure job. But those shoulds came from hustle culture, not truth. Most of our shoulds are hand-me-downs we never questioned. It's time to let them go. So here's what I hope you take away from this. Decluttering your home is a beautiful thing. It creates space. It brings clarity. It feels good. But if you're only decluttering your closets while your calendar is overflowing, your mind is racing, and your energy is depleted, you're only halfway there. When I downsized my thrifting business that was draining me, when I stopped trying to prove my worth, when I set boundaries around my time and energy, that's when things shifted. Not because I was doing less, but because I was doing what mattered. My real obligation is to show up healthy, present, and energized for myself and my loved ones. That required letting go of the hustle, the shoulds, the obligations that weren't really obligations at all. So I want to ask you something. Is this the kind of content you want to see more of? Because I have so much more to share about this, about decluttering your time and energy, clearing mental and emotional clutter, finding purpose in this season of life, and designing days that actually feel good. But I only want to make videos that are helpful and interesting for you. So let me know in the comments, what would help you most right now? Learning how to say no without guilt, clearing the mental loops that keep you stuck, finding purpose after 50, setting boundaries that protect your peace. Tell me what you're struggling with, and I'll make content that helps. If you like this video, share it with someone who really might need to hear it. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you find wellness today and every day. See you next time.